Today we're going to be talking about holding a lead, power training and delayed onset muscle soreness. Welcome to episode 35 of Run It Straight. Our first question is anonymous, although I guess some people would probably be able to put it together. I'm a footy dad of an under 15s Div 1 player in the Penrith comp. I have a question if you don't mind. If you were coaching a side that's in front 32-20 with 15 to go against a side that hasn't been beaten in 4 years, what would your advice be to keep the lead and win the game? We lost 34-32. There's lots of things we could say about that one. I would say keep playing the kind of footy that got you 12 in front. Because obviously was it 32-20? 32-20. You've got a lead, keep doing what you're doing, keep your foot on their throat, keep the accelerator down, don't back off. Remember, winning is a habit, unfortunately so is losing. So the side you're playing against is obviously, if they haven't lost the game in 4 years, they're in the habit of winning games. And I don't know how strong or weak your side is, but obviously if this other side hasn't been beaten in the last 4 years, you've definitely played them, so your team has gotten in the habit of losing to them. It's funny how those things work. But in the game that you were winning with 15 to go, and you're up by 12, you keep doing what you're doing, because 15 minutes is, in a 30-minute half, that's still a long period of time, isn't it? Yep. If you'd gotten down to 8-9 minutes, under that 10-minute mark, kick early, like a couple of hit-ups, and just get rid of the ball so you don't have the chance to make a mistake. Kick the ball down to their end, defend really well, kick to the corners or kick it out if you can. Play the ball, play the game down their end of the field. But 15 minutes is far too much time. Don't try and defend it. You see this in the NRL all the time as well. Teams they'll get in front when they're not expected to get in front against a strong side, and then they'll stop attacking. They'll just play boring, restrictive football, and they do it far too early in the game, and they end up getting run down. Because like we said, good teams have a habit of winning, and if you start playing super conservative, it makes it easier for the other team, because they're going to need to take risks anyway to score tries and to score points quickly, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier if you don't try and capitalise on those errors when they do make them. I don't know, you...
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when they try to start playing conservative too early. So 15 minutes out is still way too early to start playing conservative, like you mentioned.
Particularly with a 12-point lead.
Exactly. These days, 2 tries in 15 minutes is...
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's nothing. So don't start playing conservative too early. Keep the intensity up, because everyone, when they start to play conservative, the intensity actually drops, because no one wants to make a mistake. So you just keep pushing, like Joe mentioned, keep playing hard as normal, and then as it gets down to the 8, 9, 7 minute mark, you start kicking to corners, chase, and then lift up your intensity in defense. So no penalties, no stupid stuff, hold onto the ball, no silly passes. 15 minutes out, it's game on. You're trying to score another try.
Yeah, so it looks like you put the cue into the rack too early. That's what. Without any more details, that's what we would say.
Yeah.
Next question: what are plyometrics, and what are some good exercises to use for rugby league? So, plyometric training utilises the stretch shortening cycle. Essentially, you use a lengthening movement, which is quickly followed by a shortening movement. Eccentric, concentric, but those terms don't really mean too much. Now, to explain everything in and around this, you probably just go onto YouTube and have a search. There's a lot more detail that you can go into about that. I think what you're actually asking here from the question is more so about power development and how do you go about doing that. So power as opposed to strength is essentially force but expressed rapidly. So we go in the gym, we test boys out, you perform a 1 rep max, it's going to show how strong you are, but your ability to move a load with speed is your power output. And obviously when you're on the rugby league field, you're not sitting there palming someone off at a nice grind, slow speed like this, which is what you might be doing if you're doing some really heavy work in the gym. Now in the academy, Obviously, we do test both strength and power. They're both two components that we look at training. So if we, for an example, we will test a bench press, a 1RM bench press, and we will test a 3RM squat. And we know based on your age and your weight relative to sort of development and rep level where those strength levels should be. And so that then gives us the strength idea. We then go and we test your power output to give us an idea where that's sitting. And if the power's not where it needs to be, then we can go about putting you on a program that's going to improve that. Now, believe it or not, power is actually more important than sheer strength, isn't it?
Especially for athletes. That's what I was going to
100%,
touch on.
yeah. And look, this is rugby league. You asked about rugby league exercises, so that's what we're talking about. It's also, power tends to also be it's something that we can see naturally, and we can see someone's athletic potential like pretty quickly when we bring someone new in and we test them. And Chris might do the testing and I'll ask how did such and such go, and he'll say, oh, their broad jump was this, or their med ball throw was this. Straight away, that just gives us an idea as maybe not that they're there yet, but what the potential is going to be. Now, it doesn't mean that those things aren't trainable, because they are trainable. Yes. That's the whole point in getting into the gym, but it just gives us a little bit of an idea of people's natural gifts, I guess. Anything you want to add just there?
Yeah, so for those of you wondering, the med ball throw is a way to test the upper body power output, and then the broad jump is a way to test your lower body power output. And one of the biggest things that we've noticed is whoever tests well in a broad jump, it directly correlates to your sprint, so your takeoff speed. Your
10-meter sprint time that we test will be good, and your Illinois. So again, then we can work on, okay, well, what are the certain things that we can do to improve your broad jump and to improve those other capacities. So getting stronger will. Little caveat on that. Intent in lifting is always important, and one thing that we do try to get across to the boys is even if it is a really heavy weight, you need to be trying to lift the bar safely as fast as you can. So intent will have a big effect on the nervous system, as opposed to just pushing it up and grinding it out. You want to be trying to lift the bar as fast as you can, even if the load is preventing you from doing that. And that actually does make a difference as far as power development goes. So the intent always needs to be there. Secondly, what we see is simply by increasing strength, power output goes up. Yeah, all the time we see when we train someone, when they get stronger with their back squat, if they add 20 or 30 kilos to their back squat, their broad jump goes up significantly, and then when we go to the 10-meter sprint times, they see better times there. So this is one of those things. Getting stronger is always going to be more beneficial, up to a point. And this is why on our grading grid that we've got on the wall down in the gym, we give targets for the boys to shoot for and hit. But once they're hitting at a certain target, sometimes it's more important for them to focus on other aspects of their physical development. So if their bench and their squat is roughly where it needs to be, but the power's not, then we need to put some focus in on the power. Or there could be some other areas of their physical prep that needs work.
One area that always gets overlooked is stabilizing muscles.
100%. You can't exert. It's like trying to jump really hard out of sand, because it's not stable. All of this force generates from your glutes, your quads, it goes into the ground and then it dissipates, and it doesn't push your body forward because it's an unstable surface. So if you're unstable in your shoulder, if you're unstable in your hips or your knee, you essentially get energy leaks. And even though you might be generating 100 kilos of force, the bar's only actually picking up 80 kilos.
Yep.
Just as to pick a number. So if you want to get powerful, strength work on its own is not enough. You need to be doing power movements. Now that's where obviously plyometrics and a lot of other power movements come into it. As for what exercises, if you go ahead and have a look through our socials and have a look at posts and stories, past posts and stories of boys training in the gym, you're going to see a lot of, I'm not about to go and list, the whole library of exercises that we use, but there's a lot of stuff that we do use which is in there, and you'll see the boys are all doing that routinely, some more than others, again, like we said, depending, because sometimes a kid will come into us and their power output's good, but their strength's not so good. So once you start to load them up a little bit, the power starts to fall apart. So we've got to kind of put a bigger engine in there to build their strength a little bit more. Is there anything else we need to... Okay, if you're training power, some general principles, you want to be keeping the reps fairly low. You're not really going beyond 6. You want to have longer rest minutes, 2, 3, 4 minutes in between sets. Keep the loads light to moderate, because you want whatever the implement is, you want it to actually be moving fast. Like we said, intent is important, but also when you're training, like one of the exercises that we use for upper body power is a bench press throw, where we always have a spotter. Always have a spotter.
Always have a spotter.
Or that one could get pretty dangerous. Essentially, they're lying down under the bench, pass them the bar, they take the bar down to their chest, and they throw the bar up as high as you can. You catch it, you pass them to it, and you do it again, and you do whatever the desired number of reps is. And if someone can bench 100, 110 kilos, 120 kilos, they might be doing somewhere between 35 and 45 kilos on that bench throw.
It's the biggest mistake a lot of athletes do.
They go way too heavy.
Yeah, because they are strong, but they go way too heavy for the intent, the purpose of the program. So go lighter and throw the bar as far as you can.
It's about moving it fast.
Yes.
Next question, anonymous. After the gym session 2 days ago, my arms were really sore. I've been stretching, but not much of a difference. Do you have any tips to help with the recovery process? Also, my dad is asking if a protein shake will help with recovery. Upping your protein will definitely help, 100%. Doesn't have to be a protein shake. It could be any kind of protein, steak, chicken, fish, eggs, whatever. Being sore is normal. That's generally a good sign. It means you've done something, provided it's not happening every single time, all the time to the same extent.
It means you worked hard.
It means you worked hard. It means you did something. Yeah. Okay, the word that we have for it is it's called DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness. So usually, and the delayed part is the thing that kind of catches people. It's like, let's say it's Monday, they go in the gym, they train really hard, and it's not Monday. Let's say that was Monday morning. It's not Monday morning that they end up being really sore. It's Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning. And that's when they're like, oh, my arms are killing me, what's wrong? Sometimes people, they might want to go and take Panadol and things like that. And it's like, no, that's just normal. So yes, it will be delayed. You will get sore. You tend to get that a lot more at the start of a new program. So if you've been doing your program for 3 to 4 weeks, which is typically what we would advise when you switch to a new program and the body's having to work with a different rep range on a different angle. It could be a different implement. You might have gone from a dumbbell to a barbell. You might be using an overload, maybe you're using drop sets or 1 1/4 reps or 21s or something. Or it could just be the volume has gone up. You've gone from doing 3 sets of 12 to 4 sets of 10. Or all of the above. All of those little things make it a different stimulus to the body, and the body will get sore. And the soreness might be a 9 out of 10 after session 1. After session 2, it might be like a 6. Session 3, a 2. Session 4, you're not even feeling anything.
True.
And that's typical. So new program is usually the biggest thing. You could get more sore if you just come in, maybe you've had too much pre-workout, or you've just got like a killer track playing in your head, and you actually just train really hard. So maybe you up the load, the weights that you're lifting. So occasionally if you train really hard, you might get sore, but that's kind of really it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless, anything out abnormal, but that's usually all it is. And that's all we have for you today. Episode 35 done. Please, any questions that you do have, that pretty much all comes in via Instagram now, doesn't it? Send your questions in on Instagram, DM. Please like the video, share the video, get other people to watch. If you're on YouTube, same thing, please like it, and we will see you in the next one. Cheers.